A lioness holds the edge of a papyrus swamp, her eyes fixed on something the camera cannot see. 1,000 buffalo pour across a floodplain that was bone-dry desert only 3 months before this moment. Lightning strikes a baobab on the open savanna, and the thunder rolls 40 kilometers across completely empty air. Beneath the surface, a hippopotamus holds its breath in water black enough to hide an entire school bus. An African wild dog pack crosses a dry riverbed at full sprint, moving like water through cracked red earth. This continent holds every extreme at once: drought and flood, abundance and famine, creation and total erasure. Africa's secret heart does not announce itself. It waits, then overwhelms, then leaves no honest explanation behind. This is the Congo Basin, the Okavango, the Rift Valley, every ecosystem pressed hard against the next. The Congo River carries more water than any river except the Amazon, and no one truly maps it. The Okavango Delta floods a desert every year, building a freshwater paradise in the heart of dry sand. The Rift Valley tears Africa apart at the speed of a human fingernail growing each year without stopping. Lake Tanganyika holds 600 meters of ancient water, unmixed with the surface since the last ice age. Beneath the Sahara, ancient rivers carved channels still holding water deep in the dark underground today. Africa contains more large mammal species than all other continents combined. Most hunt or are hunted daily. The Great Green Wall grows across the Sahel, a 1,000-kilometer line of trees planted against the desert advance. Gorillas build new sleeping nests every night in forests where the canopy closes out the sun entirely. The Nile flows 6,600 kilometers from its source to the sea through 12 countries entirely. Flamingos turn Lake Natron pink because the alkalinity that kills most animals is the exact home they need. Wildebeest cross the Mara River, and the crocodiles have been timing that same crossing for 30 million years. An elephant drinks 160 liters in a single session and leaves a waterhole completely behind. The baobab lives 3,000 years and stores 10,000 liters of water inside its hollow, pale trunk. Africa does not conform to any visitor who arrives believing they already understand what this continent contains. The full-scale, 30 million square kilometers defeats every attempt to contain or summarize this continent. Nothing living here does so by accident. Every creature and every single river earned its place entirely. Untamed Eden is not a phrase, it is the only honest description of what this place has been. Africa is the world's most ancient operating system, running on logic no outsider has yet fully decoded. The animals here do not perform, they pursue survival with an intensity that performance cannot match. Africa is not a destination, it is the earth in the form it chose long before everything else. The Okavango floodwaters arrive in June from Angolan rains that fell 4 months and 1,000 kilometers away. The flood advances across the Kalahari at walking pace, filling channels the sand already knows from memory. Elephants sense the approaching water and begin moving toward the delta before any visible sign has reached them. Zebras arrive first at the flood edge, then wildebeest, then the predators who follow the herds without exception. Within days of the water's arrival, desert floor erupts in grass so green it appears artificial in the light. The Serengeti migration covers 3,000 kilometers in a circuit unchanged for over 1 million years. 2 million wildebeest, 200,000 zebra, and 500,000 gazelle move as one biological engine. The Okavango River crossing is not a choice. The pressure of animals behind makes the water unavoidable. Crocodiles in the Mara weigh over 1,000 kilograms and have not changed their design in 2 million years. A storm on the Serengeti builds in the west and crosses the plain in 40 minutes without any warning. The first lightning strike is the most dramatic, one bolt touching the grass before the full rain arrives. Rain on dry Serengeti soil creates a smell that wildebeest detect from 80 kilometers in favorable wind. The Congo rainforest receives 11 meters of rain each year, and the canopy captures most before hitting the floor. Forest elephants walk trails their great-grandparents used through a forest older than any human civilization on Earth. A gorilla troop emerges into a clearing, and the silverback's presence changes the posture of everything watching. The Congo Basin holds 67% of Africa's remaining forest and half of all species on this continent. Mountain gorillas live above 3,000 meters in cloud forest, so cold it feels unlike any other Africa. Nile monitors sense a thunderstorm through pressure changes before the storm is visible to any human observer. Termite mounds rise 4 meters above the savanna and hold internal temperatures within 1 degree regardless of outside heat. Hippos open rivers every night by walking the same paths, carving channels fish and crocodiles use for decades. The Okavango's papyrus islands drift across the delta, repositioned by the same elephants that first created the channels. Africa's seasonal rhythms are biological commands, arriving like instructions rising directly from the ground itself. The dry season removes everything the wet season built, and the landscape immediately prepares for its return. A cheetah reaches 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds across a surface that offers no real grip. Lions operate in darkness because their eyes gather 6 times more light than any human eye can collect. The sound of 1,000 stampeding wildebeest is felt before it is heard across the open plain. Every African river is a timeline. The further you follow it, the older the world it flows through. When the rains end, what remains is not emptiness, it is the landscape preparing for the next delivery.
The San people of the Kalahari have been reading the desert for 60,000 years without misreading it. They track animals through sand by reading compressions so faint that no outsider has ever matched the skill. A San hunter reads one footprint to determine how long ago an animal passed and its precise condition. The Maasai have moved cattle across the Rift Valley for centuries by understanding the rain before it arrives. They read the behavior of birds, the color of grass, and ant movement to accurately predict the weather. The Wildebeest cross the Sahel each year following the same rain route their grandparents memorized in childhood. When the Sahel dried in the 1970s, communities that survived centuries were displaced within a single decade. The Omo Valley in Ethiopia has been continuously inhabited for 300,000 years of human presence. The people there now are the direct continuation of a habitation that began before language was fully formed. Ancient Zimbabwe's stone walls were built without mortar by fitting granite so precisely no cement was ever needed. They enclosed a city of 18,000 in structures that stood 900 years in open air. The Dogon built villages into cliffs above the Sahel and held them against every force that ever came. The city of Timbuktu survived at the Sahara's edge for 700 years by controlling the only water. When the water routes shifted, the city's importance shifted, and the sand began advancing steadily on its walls. Fishermen of Lake Tanganyika use lanterns at night to attract small fish that Nile perch follow to the surface. They have fished this lake for 2,000 years, and its depth protected species they did not know existed. Rift Valley soda lakes are so caustic they destroy human skin in minutes, but flamingos raise chicks inside them. Communities around Lake Natron developed tools over generations for harvesting the lake's resources safely and precisely. Rwandan mountain communities now live alongside gorillas, with more gorillas today than any point in the last 50 years. That recovery happened because local people chose protection over poaching, and the gorillas recognized the difference. The Himba women of Namibia apply red ochre paste for sun and insect protection, not for decoration. They have lived at the Namib edge for centuries, treating the desert as a resource and not an obstacle. The abandoned city of Kami in Zimbabwe was not destroyed. It was simply and deliberately walked away from. The people left, the forest returned, and the stone walls remained as a record of what had been. Africa does not archive its history in libraries. It archives it in land, movement, and collective memory. Every migration route in Africa is simultaneously an animal route and a human route, shared across millennia. The oldest story here is not about kingdoms, it is about water and where it chose to go. Africa's people survived this continent not by dominating it, but by listening more carefully than anyone else.
The Ngorongoro Crater holds the highest predator density of any ecosystem on Earth within its 40-kilometer rim. Inside those walls, 12,000 wildebeest, 500 lions, and 100 black rhino compete in permanent proximity. Animals born inside the crater often never leave, steep topography becoming an accident of permanent lifelong destiny. A black rhino stands in morning mist, too short-sighted to see the camera standing 40 meters away. It is one of 6,000 left on Earth, and its solitude explains everything that number means. The Namib is the oldest desert on Earth at 80 million years, and its dunes move only at night. Star dunes rise 300 meters above the floor and shift position in winds too subtle to feel. Fog from the Atlantic rolls inland each morning and condenses on beetles who drink it from their own backs. A Nile crocodile can hold a wildebeest underwater for 20 minutes and grows to over 6 meters. A single elephant herd drinks 40,000 liters from one waterhole and leaves it dry by morning. The Sahara summer surface reaches 80 degrees Celsius, and animals caught without shade begin dying within the hour. A Saharan dust storm carries 180 million tons of material across the Atlantic in one event. That dust lands in the Amazon and fertilizes its rainforest through 3,000 kilometers of open ocean air. Mount Ngorongoro in the DRC holds the world's largest permanent lava lake, circling without any interruption. The lava lake has never stopped moving since first observed in 1948 and shows no sign of stopping. Ngorongoro erupted in 2021 and reached the edge of Goma within 12 hours, too fast for full evacuation. Lake Malawi holds more freshwater fish species than any other lake, 850 distinct species. 60% of those species exist nowhere else, in a lake only 700 meters at its deepest. The Congo River runs so fast through its lower gorge, it scours depths no survey has fully measured. Below those rapids live fish species isolated by the current's speed across millions of consecutive years. Victoria Falls drops 100 meters and produces spray visible from 30 kilometers in clear, dry air. In flood season, the falls produce 500 million liters per minute, the largest water curtain on Earth. At the fall's edge, wind holds spray at eye level for a full kilometer of open, visible air. Africa is not finished. The Rift Valley will one day split the continent and form a new ocean. The process has already begun and will continue for 10 million years with no possibility of any reversal. Every force that shaped this continent still operates at full pressure. Nothing completed. Nothing has stopped. Untamed Eden is not Africa's past. It is Africa as it exists at this exact moment, right now. This is the world before the world forgot what it was. Africa has never forgotten a single day.